What's up, everybody? It's Alice the Care Girl. I am your care fairy. I am back with another Care Girl letter. The Dear Girl Care series will be all 2026. We'll be reading different letters and different things that I find online about caregivers telling their story. And I came across this post on Facebook the other day, and it really, really resonated with what I kind of see in caregivers, and I will start the podcast episode off with this because it's very, very strong. And then I am going to follow up with tips for current family caregivers to actually give them relief and to actually be able to step in and help them avoid chronic stress and just really, really their mental health, right? Because it's very, very important for people who are taking care of others to be also taking care of themselves, all right? So let's get into this letter. I wore a $3,000 custom suit to my mother's funeral. I pulled up to the old family home in a rented luxury SUV, wearing designer sunglasses to hide eyes that hadn't shed a tear yet. I felt like the hero, the savior, the success story. I've been living in Chicago for the last 15 years, running a logistics firm. I've done well for myself. Since the day I left our small town, I made sure to send a check for $2,000 every single month to my younger brother David, who stayed behind to live with mom. In my head, I was the good son. I told myself because of me, they don't worry about bills. Because of my hard earned money, mom eats organic. I am the provider. When we got back to the house after the service, the judgment started. It's a habit for those of us who leave. We look at home with the critical eyes of a tourist and ignoring the gritty reality we escaped. David, I said, looking out the kitchen window, why is the yard such a mess? The grass is dead. I sent extra money last spring for a landscaping service. I ran a finger over the hallway wall and the paint is peeling here. I told you to hire a contractor months ago. What did you do with the funds? Then came the lowest blow. And why was mom so frail in the casket? She looked like skin and bones. Were you not buying those expensive protein supplements I ordered from Amazon? David didn't say a word. He was sitting at the scratched kitchen table wearing a suit that was clearly two sizes too big and 10 years out of style. He had dark purple circles under his eyes that looked like bruises. His hands were rough, the knuckles swollen. He is 3 years younger than me, but in that moment he looked a decade older. I decided to get to business. I sat opposite him, clasping my hands. Look, Dave, we need to talk about the estate. The market is recent right now. I think the best move is to flip the house fast, sell it as is. I don't need the cash, obviously, so we do a 60-40 split. You take the largest share because you stay here. I smiled, a benevolent culprit smile, waiting for him to thank me for my generosity. David slowly lifted his head. His eyes were dull, completely void of light. He stood up like an old man, walked to a junk drawer, and pulled out a cheap spiral-bound notebook. It was stained and wrinkled. He tossed it out the table between us. It landed with a heavy thud. Read it, he whispered. I opened the notebook. It was a care log. October 12th. Mom didn't sleep again. She screamed for 6 hours straight, calling for Michael. She doesn't remember who I am. Had to change her sheets and clothes 5 times tonight. She bit my arm when I tried to wash her. I'm bleeding, but I couldn't leave her alone to go to urgent care. November 3rd. The money Michael sent covered the mortgage, but not the new heart meds. Insurance denied the claim again. I sold my truck today to pay for the pharmacy. I'll walk to the grocery store from now on. December 25th, Mom had a total break. She cried all day because her successful son didn't call up until 8 p.m. By then, she was too confused to speak. I played an old voicemail of his on loop just to get her to eat a few spoonfuls of soup. I ate a cold sandwich on the floor by her bed so she wouldn't be scared. January 15th. My back gave out today lifting her from the bath. Doctor says I have a herniated disc, but I can't take the time off to get surgery. Who will watch her? She took extra Tylenol and kept going. I closed the notebook. A lump formed in my throat, hard and painful. I couldn't swallow. David looked me dead in the eye. You sent $2,000 a month, Michael. And I appreciate that, truly, but while you were sending checks, you were sleeping 8 hours a day. He pointed a shaking finger at me. You had weekends off. You had vacations in Europe. You went to happy hours. You had a life. He slammed his hands on his chest. I haven't slept a full night in 4 years. I lost my fiance because I couldn't never leave the house for a date. I quit my engineering job so mom wouldn't have to go to a state nursing home where they strap her down. You sent money to fix problems, but money didn't clean up diarrhea at 3 a.m., Michael. Money doesn't endure the insults of a mind eaten by dementia. Money didn't hold her while she shakes in the terror because she sees ghosts in the corner of the room. He leaned in, his voice quiet, but shaking with years of suppressed rage. Sell the house if you want. Keep 100% of the money. I don't want a dime. I already paid my share. I paid with my life. He turned his back on me, and walked into mom's old room, closing the door to take his first real nap in years. I was left alone in that silent kitchen. I looked at my Swiss watch. I looked at my Italian leather shoes. Suddenly, it all looked like garbage. I was the economic provider, yes, but he was a son. I paid for the bills, but he put them in her mouth. I paid for the casket, but he held her hand until her last breath rattled out of her chest. That afternoon, I drove to a local law firm. I drafted a quitclaim deed transferring 100% of the property and the land to David. I set up a trust to cover his living expenses for the next 10 years. It wasn't a gift, it was payback. And even then, as I drove back to my comfortable life in the city, I knew I was still in his debt. A reflection for all of us. In many families, there is a satellite child and a king child. The satellite child revolves from a distance. They shine bright, they shed resources, and they visit occasionally to supervise. The cane stays. They support the weight. They get leaned on until they crack. They wear down in silence. Do not make the mistake of believing your financial contribution weighs more than the physical and emotional sacrifice of the caregiver. A bank transfer does not change an adult diaper. A check does not cure loneliness. If you are the one who left, have the decency not to judge the dust on the shells of the decision of the one who stayed. And if the time comes to divide an inheritance, remember the time, the health, the sanity, and the life that the caregiver gave up has a big tag that no piece of real estate can match. Family justice isn't about dividing everything by two. It's about recognizing who gave what. So that really resonated with me and what I see with a lot of families. My mom took care of my grandmother on her last days. She was total care. What does total care mean? It means that they cannot do absolutely anything by themselves. She had MS. She was very spastic where, she couldn't even move her arms to feed herself, right? So that's diaper change, that is bathing, that is brushing her teeth. She can do any of those things. So my mom was the primary caregiver, and she actually took an early retirement to take care of her. They did have an occasional home care aide in when they would show up, right? So I remember my mom telling me, she said I had to have them help me take weekends off because I was exhausted, right? And to this day, my mom, her knees, she has to probably get like knee surgery done, knee replacement, because she wore her body down taking care of her mom, right? I see this a lot, and a lot of times the satellite child who is sending the money, they come in with all these demands, and they don't really understand the weight of the actual care side of it, which weighs more than the financial side any given day. So I did come up with a few tips to help and actually relieve the family caregiver. And this is the actual reality. So let me give you a few facts. 82% increased risk of heart disease for chronic stress. That is what the caregivers are facing. 40 to 77% of caregivers develop clinical depression. 7,242 average annual out-of-pocket costs. That's how much caregiving costs, right? 61% experience workplace problems, including job loss, because they're taking care of someone else. Okay. So here are the 10 ways to relieve a family caregiver. Make specific offers, not vague offers. Like I hear a lot of times people are like, oh, let me know if you need something. Oh, just hit me up if you need help. Just little vague things, because they want you to feel like that they're there, but they're not being specific with what they can actually do for you, right? So don't say let me know if you need anything. Caregivers are too exhausted to think of the task and too guilty to ask. Do say I'm bringing over dinner Tuesday, right? They know that they don't have to worry about dinner Tuesday, right? Be specific with what you can do and realistically, and give them the date and the time that you can do that and actually show up for them. Number two, take over one reoccurring task and actually do it. Not I'll help when I can. right? I'll help when I can. It's still no real guarantee. There's still no real, still really no mental space that they can actually help free up. So caregivers are too exhausted to think. Once again, grocery shopping every Saturday at 10 a.m. Can you handle that for them? Or grocery delivery, driving parents to doctor's appointment. Can you do that? Handling all medication refills, paying bills on the 1st and 15th of the month. Take that task off of them. Consistency matters in infinitely more than grand gestures. Number 3, give them a guaranteed 3 to 4 hour break every week, not whenever you need it. 4 hours a week. That's not a lot of time, but that's a lot of time for somebody who is taking care of somebody 24/7, right? They can actually sleep, they can see a friend, they can go to therapy, they can sit in silence and do absolutely nothing, right? Regular, predictable breaks prevent complete breakdowns. Number 4, handle research they don't have energy for. Caregivers spend countless hours researching assisted living facilities, Medicaid eligibility and applications, home modifications and costs, legal documents, medical equipment options. So, offer to do some research for them. Hey, is there anything that I can help with mom? Do you need me to take some research off your plate? Is there something that you're contemplating that she may need that I can get ahead of? Right? Super simple. Number 5, validate without minimizing. Don't say, at least they're still with you. God only gives you what you can handle. It could be worse. I hate a vague scripture, right? Just don't do that. Don't do that. Instead, just show them that they're being acknowledged. Hey, you're doing the best that you can. You're doing a great job. You're really self-sacrificing, and I see you, right? Number 6, show up even when they push you away. Caregivers will say, I'm fine when they're absolutely not. They'll cancel plans because they can feel guilty leaving their loved one. They'll isolate because they're embarrassed about their situation. Okay. Text, I'm coming over Saturday at 2 p.m. with coffee. You don't have to clean up. You don't have to entertain me. I'll just be there. Right. Number 7, actively protect their own health. Don't ask if they've been to the doctor. Book them an appointment and drive them there, or schedule them a virtual visit. They should be addressing whatever medical problems they have, even if it's even if it's the mental health, right? Help them with those things. Just hey, how are you really doing? Like body wise, mental health wise, spiritual wise, right? Help them actually sit there and go through the appointment, however that is. 70% of family caregivers report their own health declining during caregiving. Okay. Number 8, connect them with other caregivers. Isolation is one of the most damaging aspects of caregiving. Help them find local caregiver support groups, online communities, one other caregiver who's been through something similar. Nobody understands caregiving like another caregiver. Okay, and that's basically I'm also starting a group, and it will be for caregivers giving care. Okay, handle sibling conflicts or stop creating them. Family dynamics become brutal during caregiving. Siblings who don't help others often becomes the loudest critics. If you're the non-caregiving sibling, stop questioning every decision they make. Stop saying, I would do it differently. Start asking, what can I take off your plate this week? Show up consistently or stop criticizing. If you're a friend that's extended family, actively deflect criticism directed at the primary caregiver, run interference. Okay? Protect them at all costs. Because if you're not going to be the one giving the care. Number 10, give them permission to consider outside care. The guilt of putting moms and dad in a home absolutely destroys caregivers. Say this explicitly. You are not failing if you need professional help. You can't pour into an empty cup, and right now you're bone dry. The most loving choice is sometimes recognizing you can't do this alone. Professional care isn't giving up, it's keeping everyone safe, including you. Sometimes caregivers just need one person to tell them it's okay to get help. Okay? If you are a caregiver, I want you to know something. You're not being dramatic. You're not weak. You're not failing. You're not behind. You are self-sacrificing yourself for someone else, but I want you to take time for you. I have been in the care industry for over a decade, and I've seen people come and go. I've seen the caring sibling or the caring adult child really, really get badgered by their family, right? This year, 2026, I want you to protect your mental health at all costs. I have some resources down in the description if you need to book a call for me to help with any kind of care transition. If you're trying to go into assisted living, if you're trying to transition out of a nursing home, I am available for that. If you are in Atlanta, Georgia, and your mom or dad may need care, I am the lady that you call. We do have caregivers and nurses that can actually come and help you as well. But I really, really hope this episode helps someone. And feel free to email me any letters that you may have, any questions that you may have. Follow me on all of the platforms. And this is Alexandria, the caregiver.